Good afternoon, everyone. Stack in the South, coming back at you with another fantastic video, another brand new video. Just like the brand new video I put up yesterday, except this one's probably going to stay up. Anyway, so I have a couple stories for you. More like a story in a couple parts. I went to the LCS yesterday and made an exchange, and we're going to talk about that. So I did that exchange, came home after doing some Christmas shopping, and wanted to make a video on what I had done yesterday. So I know I had received something in the mail and I wanted to open it and talk about it while I made the video. So we're going to talk about this right here. So yesterday I couldn't find this envelope. I couldn't find it anywhere. Couldn't find it in my studio, which is just an office desk. Couldn't find it in my studio. Couldn't find it in the kitchen. Couldn't find it where I pay the bills. Just couldn't find it anywhere. I was pretty annoyed. So I figured there's only one place, since we don't throw much of that type of stuff away, that it was in the recycling bin. And I tell you, the recycling bin is full. So anyway, long story short, I went in there. I started searching, and boom, there it was. Near the bottom, of course, near the bottom, as I have recycling everywhere in my backyard. So here it is. Kansas Kids, newest sticker. Love it. Love the color. Love the design. Love how the black isn't real hard. It kind of fades into the green. Really cool effect. Anyway, dope sticker. Sweet. So put that there for now. All right, moving on to the rest of the story. So back to where I was. I had a little bit of platinum that I bought when it was fairly inexpensive, and I've been watching it go up, and I figured, well, maybe when it gets to 2,000 an ounce, I'll see about trading for gold. So I went in there with 3 platinum kooks, 1/10 ounce, and then these 2, which clearly I did not get rid of because they're still here in my hand. But I went in there, and I said I would like to trade this over for some gold, and I did. And I got a couple of maples and a 1 gram bar, and I come home and I'm pretty excited. Once I find the sticker, I start doing the video, and I go blah 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 all the way through the video. Didn't notice an issue. Post it. Actually, I listened to it again. Still didn't notice an issue. I post it, and I'm sitting there, and a couple people have commented. Kansas Kid, of course. And then someone else decided to point out an issue. Don't ask. Decided to point out that those maples I got were not grams. I went in there thinking I was buying maple grams. I did not buy maple grams. I bought 1/10 ounce, or 1/20th ounce maples. 2 of them, as a matter of fact. And then once that video hit, I'm like, wait a minute, that was maple gram. Negative, not maple grams. They're maples, but they were not maple grams. So I look at the video and I just can't believe it. So I just went ahead and deleted the video offline because the video was trash at that point. Though I realized the mistake because the receipt says maple grams. She just ended up giving me 1/20th ounce maples unknowingly. So I didn't realize it till someone pointed out on video. So of course I delete the video, and I'm sitting there like, what do I do? What do I do? Do I keep it and just consider that a win? Or do I do the honest thing and contact them and try to work it out and make sure that I'm not perceived as shady if they do catch it? Anyway, I'm super honest. So what I did was chose the honor route and decided I was going to go in there. So that leads me to part 2 of this story. I get up this morning. I grab my couple maples, which I had cut out of. Actually had cut out of their little wrappers. There's a little piece of it left because I'm going to put them in little capsules anyway. Yeah, I had a whole video. I talked about the black ring plague and all this stuff, and whatever. Well, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, so I pack up all my stuff. I go back in there, and I really don't want to pay cash for the difference in these. You know, Christmas time. Still doing some Christmas shopping. So I bring these in there just in case. Then I could trade one of these over and then maybe trade both in and get another little piece of gold. So I go in there, and the girl's, she's like, "Oh, you're here to buy some more?" And I said, "Well, yeah, maybe." And I basically pointed out to her, I brought my son, of course, because I want to teach him a lesson in honesty. And so we go marching in there, and she just had a pretty shocked look on her face. And she's like, "Wow." She said, "Thank you very much." And, you know, so we're talking for a minute, and she starts doing some price. I said, "I just want to make it right. I'd like to have a good relationship with you guys, so I continue to do business there." And so she was pretty impressed. And then she kind of started figuring out the difference in price. And at some point she said, "You know what? Just keep them." So just keep them. They're yours. I made a mistake. We're going to go ahead and eat that, and you can have them. And I said, "No way." But sure enough, she said, I could have those 1/20th ounce maples for the price of 1 gram. Or I should say maple gram, because it was more than just a gram. So I got this and that, like a 1/10 ounce of gold for the price of 2 grams. I'm pretty stoked. I couldn't believe it. I took my son in there, and she said, "Go ahead and keep it. It's our mistake." And I said, "Roger that." You know, argue a little bit, but I'm only going to argue so much. So, thought that was a pretty good lesson for my son to learn. A little lesson of honesty, what you should and should not do. So I went ahead and got rid of some other high premium gold. The Allegories, Germanium Mint, couple of high premium pieces that I just don't love, and I just didn't really want to keep anymore. So I went ahead and brought those in, and they didn't give me a great price on those, but either way, I still made my money off of them. So I didn't lose any money on those, but I didn't get as much as I thought. I just don't really like the high premium collectible, you know, certificate of authenticity stuff. So I went ahead, traded it in, and got 1 more gram. So, pretty excited about that. Let me put this in its capsule. Doobie-doobie-doo. Hopefully that story wasn't too all over the place. I have ADHD brain, and I get scatterbrain sometimes, so hope that wasn't too much for y'all to bear. But either way, these are my new additions between yesterday and today to my Poucho Via. So let's see what we got in here. Still with the black ring plague and all this stuff. 2.5 gram doesn't have the black ring plague, and neither does this bar, but look, about half. No black ring, half a black ring. Either way, my stack is getting there. I fed Poucho Via. Look at, man, jeez. You know, this stuff starts stacking up pretty quickly when you don't realize it. Anyway, that's my story. What would y'all have done? Would you have gone back? Would you have just taken it, you know, just taken it as a win? Or what would you guys have done? You know, I haven't been hot about it for a while, because if this was Walmart, I wouldn't have gone back in. I would have been score. But this is a local business, family run. My kid goes and plays with another kid that hangs out there in the afternoons after school. I didn't want to mess that up. So I did the right thing. I feel good about it. Got free gold. Christmas, gonna strike twice this year. Again, that was a great lesson in honesty for my son to learn, that I ended up still with the good end on that bargain. Free gold is free gold. You know, a wise man once said all gold is good gold. It's true. Free gold is the best gold. But with that being said, stand by. I want to get something. Okay, I'm back. Got this too. A little something from the U.S. Mint. I'm not going to open that today. That's going to be a video for another day, so y'all can just stand by for that one. Probably put that out in the next day or two. I think it's just a little too much to add to this. So, long story short, I try to be honest, and it pays off a lot of times. Like I said, has anyone ever been on the winning end of a when they weren't paying attention to the LCS, or has anyone ever had something like that? And I'm curious what y'all would do too. So, on that note, I feel like there was something else I was going to say. I hate it when I have to redo videos. I deleted the one from yesterday, thanks to Don't Ask for pointing out the issue. Now, I'm going to post this one. And y'all have a great day. Merry Christmas. Probably won't post the other video till, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when I get to it. Anyway, I'm out.